Yeah, hopefully. Well, it's not the first time you have told me
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to the show, guys. We appreciate you all being here with us today. It's a blast. Life is good. Life is very good. I have a feeling that we have some issues. I don't know why. Hold on a second. Oh, gosh. We have no picture here. Oh, isn't that just great? That's just hunky-dory. Okay, just wait a second, guys. I think there's a way to get around this. No, there is not. Well, for the first time in my career here, they have messed me up. Oh, jeez. This is insane. This is insane. Guys, just give me a second here while I try to figure this thing out and try to get up here. Oh, that's insane. I have a camera, but it's not showing me here. Hey guys, I guess the show must go on here. No, nothing is coming up here. None of my pictures or anything's going up here. Doggone it. Okay, guys, we're going to continue here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our buddy Dave Lisle here from Canada. We're going to be talking to him tonight. He's going to be co-hosting the show with me. We've got a lot of things to talk about. As you can see from our title to our program, we're going to talk about unlawful immigration. We're going to talk about the problems in Maui. We're going to talk about the illegal act by Governor Grisham in New Mexico. And we're going to talk about the impeachment of Joe Biden. Even though I don't have pictures here, we're going to talk about it anyway, which is sad. I wish we had the pictures. I don't understand, because I've got a picture here, but you guys don't. That's okay. Anyway, guys, let's do this. Instead of me trying to bring up the U.S. Army with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem, we'll forego that tonight, probably tonight only. By tomorrow I'll have all this figured out. But I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you. Okay? We appreciate each and every one of you here. So, let's go on. Okay? The first thing I want to do is talk about Governor Grisham in New Mexico. Just to remind everybody about what happened on Friday. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham declared war on the First and Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. As a governor, she said that she was going to nullify the First and Second Amendment of the United States in her county that includes Albuquerque, New Mexico. Today, I have been in communication with the New Mexico Federal Prosecutor's Office. And even though the woman said that she would not comment on any of my comments that I told her, she said, number one, there is an active investigation going on. There is an active lawsuit against Governor Grisham going on right now. And she said that she was not able to comment about either of those. So like I told you, I finally got through to the New Mexico Federal Prosecutor's Office. Now, two lawmakers are saying that Governor Michelle Grisham has violated her oath of office. They want to remove her from office as soon as practically possible. New Mexico governor's temporary ban last Friday on carrying guns in public meets and in the public, open to the public, whether it's concealed or open to the public, she declared a halt on that, violating the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office said they will not enforce a concealed carry and open carry ban. They will not enforce the concealed carry or the open carry ban. Now, I want to see if I can get this video to play, and we might be able to see something here. Yes, we got it. We have it here.
As we all know, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham issued an emergency temporarily suspending open and concealed carry laws for the next 30 days in Bernalillo County. Let me be clear. I hold my standards high, and I do not or never will hedge on what is right. And I take my oath seriously. In reference to concealed carry and open carry, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office will not enforce this segment of the order. While I understand the urgency, the temporary ban challenges the foundations of our Constitution, but most importantly, it is unconstitutional. My oath was to protect the Constitution, and that is what I will do. Is I have enough violence here in Bernalillo County. I do not want to have political violence towards my deputies or here in Bernalillo County. My job is to keep the peace and to make sure that the citizens of Bernalillo County are safe, and I do not believe that this order will help me do so. I'm a law enforcement professional. This order will not do anything to curb gun violence other than punish law-abiding citizens from their constitutional right to self-defense. Let me give you a personal story. Last week, as I'm sitting here as the sitting sheriff, I get a phone call that my brother also was a victim of gun violence last week that many of you do not know. While he and my nephew were sitting in their car, they were shot at in their vehicle.
Okay. Just checking because my internet's getting screwy.
Basically, what that sheriff was saying from Bernalillo County New Mexico, he is the chief law enforcement officer for New Mexico in his county. Each county,
I'm proud to announce the subject is in custody. Repeating, subject is in custody.
Just a second, guys. Okay, good. I stopped that. Anyway, the sheriff of Bernalillo County, which encompasses the city and outlying areas around Albuquerque, New Mexico, said he will not enforce the governor's order. He is the chief law enforcement officer in that county. And the other sheriffs throughout New Mexico are equally outraged. They are equally outraged. The sheriff says he's not going to enforce the governor's orders. And the state legislature is going after the governor as well. Impeachment is a lengthy process, as we saw during the 2 impeachments of Donald Trump that did not work. It's a very lengthy process, and it's very wonky. It's unprecedented. Unfortunately, this is what we have come to do, said State Representative John Block. Block is talking about the process of impeachment of the governor of New Mexico, which he says is now on the table after Lieutenant Grisham's latest public health order. Governor Grisham tried to link public health to the Second Amendment and the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. That is utterly ridiculous. Right now we're getting the impeachment articles drafted that Representative Block is talking about. Those are currently in the drafting stage. But essentially it's going to be talking about her abuse of power by unilaterally usurping all authority from the Constitution and violating her oath of office. Representative Block says he and Republican Representative Stephanie Lord of Bernalillo and Torrance counties are working together on articles of impeachment against the governor. So it's not just Bernalillo County or the city of Albuquerque. It's the entire state against the governor. The Representative Lord said, "I was horrified at her absolutely overreach on her Second Amendment. Basically, she put her right hand up and said, 'Oh, just kidding. I'm not going to obey my oath.' And now we're in a situation where people are extremely frustrated. They say they've seen backlash to the governor's decision from both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republicans. You see Democrats, you see Republicans, you see independents saying, whoa, 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 this is a total power grab. And it's an infringement on our constitutional rights." In a tweet Monday, Democrat State Senator Jules Cervantes of Dona Ana County called on the governor to rescind her own order, calling it unconstitutional. KOB-TV Channel 4 reached out to the Democratic Party of New Mexico for comment on the order and possible impeachment articles, and the party declined to comment. On Monday afternoon, 2 days ago, it became clear how unprecedented impeachment of a New Mexico governor is going to be. During a legislative council meeting, Republican State Senator Greg Nybert asked how the process works. The state senators and the representatives didn't even know what it takes to impeach someone. Impeachment is a long, drawn-out process, and it might take a while, but they're going to continue. He says, what I can provide to you is the procedures that were used for the 3 impeachment proceedings that were initiated since 2005, 2011, and 2015. I believe. These 3 different situations, different circumstances. There is nothing in statute or the Constitution of the United States or rule of law that provides specific guidelines on how a governor can suspend the Constitution. The Constitution just simply says it is the sole responsibility of the House, said Director of the New Mexico Legislative County Service, Raul Burciaga. He added the legislature must be in session for impeachment to be able to move forward. And right now, the legislature is out on vacation. And right now, they're not scheduled to come back until January. So that would call for an extraordinary session to happen. It hasn't happened in a very long time. We don't want to come to this point with impeachment, but unfortunately, what other remedies do we have? KOB TV Channel 4 reached out to the governor's office for a comment on the possible impeachment. We also asked about calls for a special session, but we have not heard back from the governor. Block says he expects the articles of impeachment to be completed this week. I finally got through to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Albuquerque this morning. The Albuquerque Federal Prosecutor's Office told me that she cannot comment on what is going on in New Mexico. She did tell me that there's already a pending lawsuit going on, and that I had heard about as well. And she also said she cannot comment on that either. Okay? She told me if I want to get in on the shenanigans about impeachment of the governor or filing a lawsuit against the governor, I have to take all the information, all the evidence that I have, and give it to the FBI. A lot of good that will do. We all know what the FBI is in the process of doing right now. Okay? Now, compare this evidence of this impeachment process of the governor to what's going on in Washington, D.C. It's very comparable. Ian Sams, who is a special assistant to President Biden, and he's also the senior advisor and spokesman for the White House counsel's office. Mr. Sams was quoted, "Today we wrote to a leading U.S. news organization asking them to do more to hold House Republicans accountable for their demonstrably false statements. The Biden White House went to CNN, the Communist News Network, to try to put some heat on the Republicans of the House of Representatives in Washington. Special Assistant to Biden, Ian Sams is his name. I wish I could bring up information here, but unfortunately I can't. But he asked CNN to put heat on the Republican members of the House. He said, we gave CNN a 14-page document refuting every claim the Republicans say the impeachment is based on. By the Biden administration's memo to the media on impeachment, the White House is urging news outlets to ramp up scrutiny of the House Republicans' impeachment inquiry into President Biden. They're trying to use the news media again against the people. This time they're trying to use the news media to stop the House of Representatives, a legislature that is termed indeed to be a third, what shall I say, a third part of the judiciary to keep the White House in line. Okay? We have the Senate. We have the House of Representatives, and we also have the Supreme Court. 3 separate and distinct bodies of government, each one to keep the other in check. And yet, the Biden White House is telling the news media, climb all over the House of Representatives and stop the Republicans from impeachment. The memo is titled, "It's time for the media to do more to scrutinize the House Republicans. Demonstrably false claims that they're basing impeachment stunt on." Now, that does not sound completely rational, does it, Dave? I guess Dave stepped away for a minute. This sounds just like a child wrote this idea. The memo is titled, "It's time for the media to do more to scrutinize House Republicans' demonstrably false claims that they're basing impeachment stunt on." It's not even a real statement. It's missing several words to be a real statement. Grammatically correct. And this statement was sent out by the White House spokesperson, Ian Sams, who's a special advisor to President Biden. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced the inquiry yesterday, Tuesday. The White House immediately called it extreme. There's a 14-page memo that the White House put together to try to stop the House of Representatives. Memo to editorial leadership at the U.S. news media organizations. From Ian Sams, Special Assistant to the President and Senior Advisor and Spokesman for White House Counsel's Office. Date, September 12th, 2023. Regarding, it's time for the media to do more to scrutinize House Republicans and their demonstrably false claims that they're basing the impeachment stunt on. After nearly 9 months of investigating, House Republicans have not been able to turn any evidence of the president doing anything wrong. Isn't that interesting? How Ian Sams can even get away with saying that? There's thousands of pages of evidence of Biden being linked to his son's political and work ideas and his work with Burisma in Ukraine. And even Biden threatening the special counsel and attorney in Ukraine, if he wasn't fired, then Ukraine wouldn't get money. If they didn't fire that attorney, Ukraine wasn't going to get a dime from the United States. At the time, Biden was the vice president. And Ukraine, a spokesman from Ukraine, challenged Biden. How and why do you say that? You're not the president. And he goes, my boss is the president, and he'll do anything I tell him to do. That's what Biden told Ukraine. And within a very short time period, Ukraine fired that attorney. And Hunter Biden already there got put on the board of the Burisma oil company. This has to do with oil again. Okay? Biden's wrongdoing. And yet the special advisor to President Biden says, oh, President Biden hasn't done anything wrong. That's just one count. that I have, and I have dozens of other counts against Biden. Ian Sam says House Republicans haven't been able to turn up any evidence of any wrongdoing by Biden. But House Representatives led by Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, another House Republican, has nonetheless been opening up an impeachment inquiry of President Biden. And yet, Biden and his team are saying, oh, we've never done anything wrong. That, guys, encompasses Biden completely. This tells me that Biden has done something wrong. He has definitely done something wrong. And yet, his advisors are all telling him, oh, you haven't done anything wrong. Nothing's wrong here. Nothing's wrong here. Lamb is Light says, where's the picture? Folks, we're having a video problem tonight, and I'm sorry. So tonight, we're just having to do a podcast without video. And I'm sorry about that because I had a lot of good things to show you. A lot of good things. Laura Marie says, I remember the big guy, then the vice president bragging about getting that attorney fired and threatening to withhold support. It was wrong at that time, and it still is. Laura Marie, I agree. And that just is one thing. That's only one thing. There's a lot of things that filter into this. These people in power are power hungry, and they just want to hold on to power. The one thing that Special Assistant to the President Ian Sam said, which is true, that impeachment is a grave, rare, and historic constitutional event. It requires treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's also a House member, a congresswoman, says that's exactly what this is. Crimes, high crimes, treason, violation of the Constitution, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. House Republicans are publicly stating that they have uncovered none of these things, and that's a lie as well. Mr. Sams, who's again the special assistant to Biden, goes to a rhino. Representative Ken Buck from Colorado, a Democrat. He's not even Republican. Said that the time for impeachment is a time when there's evidence linking President Biden. If there's evidence linking President Biden to a high crime or misdemeanor, but that evidence doesn't exist right now. BS. He has also said, I don't think that evidence has been presented connecting President Biden to wrongdoing, and that I'm not convinced that evidence exists. It does exist. Republican Representative Dave Joyce from Ohio said, he's not seen facts or evidence that would merit an impeachment inquiry. Well, Dave Joyce, if you're not seeing it, your eyes are closed and you're wearing earplugs. There's plenty of evidence that not only would merit an impeachment inquiry, but a complete impeachment in the House and the Senate of the United States, and get Biden and Harris thrown out of government. Representative Dusty Johnson from South Dakota told CNN that there is a constitutional and legal test that you have to meet with evidence when it comes to impeachment, and that he has not seen that evidence either. So here, now we have 3 congressmen that think they haven't seen anything. That's because they either have not had their televisions on, they were not in the House at all watching the presentation, or they had earplugs in. Their blinders on. Maybe they were sleeping. Republican Representative Don Bacon from Nebraska also has been sleeping. I think before we move on to an impeachment inquiry, we should have some direct link to the president having done something. We should have evidence. We should have some clear evidence of a high crime or a misdemeanor, not just assuming there may be one. Again, here's another rhino that doesn't have his diaper on. He's too big of a baby to realize the sheer magnitude of the charges of crimes that Biden has indeed committed. This rhino said, I think we need to have more concrete evidence to go down that path. There's plenty of concrete evidence. Republican Representative French Hill from Arkansas, again a rhino, told CBS News that House Republicans have not even remotely completed the work on the kind of detailed investigations and quality work needed to proceed to an impeachment. Again, this guy has blinders on. Representative Mike Lawler from New York, a big rhino from a Democratic state. With respect to impeachment, we're not there yet. Republican Representative Chuck Edwards. He's from North Carolina. I happen to know him. He said in a House hearing, quote, I've heard over and over that President Biden has not been implicated or proven for any wrongdoing here, and I acknowledge that. Well, Chuck Edwards, you've got blinders on too, and you have earmuffs on, and you're not hearing what has been said, and you're not seeing the evidence against President Biden. Republican lawmaker told CNN there's no evidence that Joe Biden got any money from China or Russia or Ukraine. Really, there is plenty of evidence. Number one, the Fed. The Fed. Every time millions of dollars pass between Russia, Ukraine, and China into Biden's coffers, the red flags that went up. Big, huge red flags went up. But because of where Biden was, those flags were held at his staff, and there was no action taken. Now, with that said, there's something else that has happened as well. Evidence against Biden. His grandniece. Biden has a grandniece that sat in on a meeting in China, and she emailed evidence to a whistleblower named Devin Archer. She emailed the evidence against her. What would that make it? You'd make it her grandfather, or her great-grandfather. Had evidence that she emailed to Devin Archer, and he came forward with. All of these lawmakers that I've told you about have told Biden and his conspiracy people, oh, there's nothing going on. Oh, you don't have to worry about it. There's no fraud going on. There was no fraudulent election. Really? They're saying there's just no evidence of that. They can't impeach without that evidence, and I don't think the evidence exists. Really? A senior House Republican aide told Politico, we haven't proven the case for impeachment yet. How can you start an impeachment? We haven't done what we need to do to start impeachment. Now, Mr. Sams went on Twitter. He went on Twitter saying there's no evidence against his boss, Joseph Biden. So I went on Twitter and replied to Mr. Sams' notice on Twitter. Here is what I told Mr. Sams directly. There were no other replies to Mr. Sams' tweet. Mr. Sams, I have done my own independent investigation. I am a former law enforcement officer, an investigator. President Biden, by his own admission, has been involved in questionable activity. He must needs be stopped once and for all. Mr. Biden's family and Mr. Biden are all guilty of crimes. CNN has reported that there are as many as 30 House Republicans who don't believe there's enough evidence yet for impeachment. Perhaps that is why, despite vowing just days ago that they're going to open up an impeachment inquiry, would be opened by the House Speaker, Mr. McCarthy. And Mr. McCarthy is said by CNN, and again, you can't trust anything CNN says. CNN says House Speaker McCarthy has gone against his own demands in 2019 to open an impeachment inquiry unilaterally, flip-flopping on his own commitment to a vote. But, and again, this is CNN, but reporting that solely focuses on a process rather than the substance is woefully inadequate when it comes to something as historically grave as an impeachment. It's time for the media to ramp up its scrutiny of House Republicans, according to Mr. Sams. Even House Republican members are admitting that there's simply no evidence. Wrong. There is so much evidence around. Biden did wrong. The Democrats are saying, oh, Biden didn't do anything. Really? He threatened China. Either you do what we want you to do, or you're not getting the money. Yes, President Biden has sent oil and money to China. He's nearly emptied our strategic oil reserves. Biden has nearly emptied our nation's historical oil reserves that we've had. And quite honestly, the investigation I have done, if anything big happened where we would need those oil reserves, we only have 3 days worth of additional oil that can be put out to our military or this country's citizens, because Biden has either sold it, given it away, or let it go. Yeah, that's enough evidence right there to open up an impeachment inquiry, because Biden has given away our oil reserves. We're at the lowest levels now of our strategic oil reserve than we had in 1987. Okay? There are plenty of alarm bells going all over the place. And the news media probably sees it as well, regardless of what Biden and his pigs are doing inside the White House. And yes, I'm calling them pigs. If you stink and you're squeaking like a pig, you're a pig. For years, Republicans in Congress have tried to muddy the waters, according to the Democrats, and make up allegations that were false. Really? Isn't that what Democrats have been doing against President Trump and the Democrat communist-controlled news media doing the same thing? The news media and Democrat Biden have been doing a disservice to the American people, who rely on an independent, truthful press to hold those in power accountable, meaning the Bidens, the entire dadgum Biden crime family, and his pigs that are in the White House helping him squeak. I am frankly enraged at what the senior advisor to President Biden is doing. I understand that the senior advisors to the White House have a duty to the boss that signs their checks. They have a duty to protect him. In the past, when a president has done wrong, we have seen the staffers leave, and leave in droves. They leave in droves. That's what's happened. And I believe it's going to happen again. As we cover this Biden impeachment, yes, the impeachment process is going to be slow. Impeachment inquiries are always slow. And then, after the inquiry is over, then an impeachment trial is held in the House, and a vote is taken to impeach the president. After the impeachment is voted on in a positive vote manner, it's turned over to the Senate. Yes, we have Republicans in charge in the House. They'll get the vote. But the Democrats in the Senate won't go for it. They'd rather have a sound of oink oink. Even though the American people want Biden thrown out. It probably will not happen. But the one issue that I know is that I believe that there will soon be enough political pressure forcing Biden to resign. Biden will resign. Then you're going to have Miss Kool-Aid in charge. Miss Kool-Aid is going to come by. Little Kamala is going to come out, and she's going to try to lead the country until the election next year. The Democrats are going to have to put up an opponent. Biden's not going to be anywhere around. He'll be gone. Somehow they will make him leave office on no uncertain terms. The Democrats right now do not have anyone to run against Trump. And Trump is going to run. Regardless of what happens, Trump is going to run. Richard Lisle just gave us a $49.99 $50 super chat. God bless you for that. I appreciate that, Richard. We greatly appreciate that. That means the world to me. But Biden's going to be gone. What are the Democrats going to do? They're going to reach over to the left coast with Gavin Newsom. You will never hear me say his name correctly. Gavin Newsom. There was an impeachment done in California against Newsom. A recall effort was done, and it was done right. But just like this last election, the ballot boxes were padded in large numbers because the conservatives in California had enough ballots and votes to get Newsom out of office. The Democrats padded the ballot boxes, keeping Newsom in power. And Newsom has ruined the entire state of California. People are trying to escape California in droves. They don't want to be told what to do by California. Hurricane Heather says, we recalled him twice and he's still our governor. Total BS, I agree. That's what the Democrats do best. the Communist Democrats do best. Anyway, there's a total of 14-page memo that Ian Sams put out to the media. He said the House Republicans are basing their Biden impeachment stunt on false claims that have been repeatedly debunked. James Comer, Representative James Comer, who's sitting on one of the impeachment committees. Allegedly, James Comer said, was Joe Biden directly involved with Hunter Biden's business deals? And is he compromised? That's our investigation. We're determining in the House Oversight Committee, the Republicans, is this what he did? Did he, President Biden, compromise the White House? Was he a compromised president? Did this compromise in him and his decision-making process? Our investigation of Biden, it always has been, was, is Joe Biden involved? And all roads lead to Joe Biden. Another Congresswoman, Elise Stefanik, Joe Biden has, I believe, committed multiple criminal acts. House Republicans have consistently maintained that their investigation of the Bidens is focused on unearthing President Biden's involvement in his son's business dealings and revealing policy and governing decisions he made that were compromised because of it. Yes, Republicans in the House and the Senate have bragged about how they have obtained thousands of pages of financial records and claim they show that there is hard evidence that Joe Biden was front and center in all of this. Yet at every turn, their allegations about wrongdoing by Joe Biden have been debunked. That is a bunch of crap. All of the allegations that the Congress people have got have not been debunked. Just what I've told you about Biden and his paying off China and receiving money from China, and Biden sending oil from America's strategic oil reserves to China. What for? Why are we giving a country that is such a staunch enemy against the United States? Why are we giving them oil? Why are we giving them computer intelligence? It's not because they're going to help us. That's not the case. We're getting kicked in the stomach. Republican committee members have obtained financial records. And yes, they have done independent public reporting. They have told us what is going on. This investigation is not all about politics. And yes, there is plenty of evidence. Congressman Comer is going to open up his committee, and they are going to pursue the truth. And it doesn't look good for Biden right now. What Congress has done right now has nothing to do with the president's poll numbers. It's not Congress that Biden has to worry about. It's the public's perception of what Biden has done wrong. That's what the Biden White House needs to concern itself with, and not the House Republicans. The House Republicans are going to take Biden down. But it is this entire country that's going to step up and take Biden out of the White House and his entire complement of pigs. And if Ian Sams, if you're hearing this podcast tonight, or if you hear my voice anywhere else, or you see my statements on Twitter, yeah, guy, no matter what, You can try to silence me here on YouTube or silence me anywhere else. But I am a I am very much a voice that the public is going to listen to. The public is going to listen. The public is here. I am a viable news voice myself. NanoGaf said, is asking about only having audio here. We had some video problems at the beginning of this broadcast, and they have not gotten any better. That's why you're only having radio tonight, audio, and I'm sorry about that. Yes, we have a black screen tonight. I'm sorry. That's something that I have no power over. I hope you guys will stay here. Right now, according to YouTube that I don't trust, it says we only have an average retention rate of 10 people being here for any more than 10 minutes. We have 370 viewers here tonight, and they say our average retention rate for duration you're here is 10 minutes. What a bunch of crap. Don't believe the news media. I don't think anything or anyone believes what the Biden White House is trying to say. The Biden White House knows how bad it is. It's unreal. Al Sanchez is in our chat tonight. He says, video's up but blank. I'll see your logo in the lower right hand corner. Yes, the logo's there. I don't know why we don't have camera here. We had camera before we went on the air, and as soon as we went off the air, the camera disappeared. Anyway, guys, I wanted to compare both of these impeachments. The governor getting impeached because she usurped the power of the Constitution and took it away from her citizens. The First and Second Amendment took it away from her citizens, thinking that the gang members will stop killing people if she takes the guns off the street. If you take the guns away from the honest Americans, the only people that will continue to have the guns are the bad guys, the gangs. So Governor Grisham's act, which is unconstitutional, she should be taken out of office and prosecuted. Now, why am I saying that? Why am I stressing that we have to impeach Governor Grisham and we have to impeach Joe Biden? Unless we impeach both of them, hold them accountable for what they've done, we're going to have presidents like Richard Nixon and Biden that are going to continue to break the law until we punish them. Until we punish them and we make a public example of them in their punishment, let the punishment fix the crime, nothing's ever going to happen. They must be arrested, removed from office, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That you can take to the bank. That you need to take to the bank. Now, I'm not going to play politics here. After I wrote Ian Sam's answer to his statement on Twitter, President Trump also put his statement out there. President Trump wrote to Ian Sams and said, DM us, Ian. DM us, Ian. Happy to send you a free t-shirt that honors Never Impeach Joe. Yeah, the Trump organization has a new t-shirt. Never Impeach Joe. Never impeached with an ED on the end of it. He will be impeached. But again, I even wrote back to President Trump. I told President Trump, I have also taken Mr. Sam's statement to task. Sams clearly knows exactly what is going on, but appears to be Biden's senior advisor, and he's doing his job to lie to the people to protect his big man. That's what I wrote to President Trump. Okay? So that's enough about impeaching a governor and the current president. I have other things that you probably ought to hear tonight. Okay? It never ends. Folks, I want to play a video for you, and I'm hoping you'll see this one. This is Glenn Beck, and he interviewed Governor Abbott in Texas. And I want you to see this. I'm hoping you'll see this. Okay, here it is. So we do have some video, at least for video. I think everybody needs to see this because this is about unlawful immigration.
The New York PD ordered to slash overtime spending now to cover the cost of the migrant crisis. Huh. Well, that's interesting. They apparently are collapsing with about 100,000 illegals coming to Manhattan. Now, that's what they've received. They've gotten about 10,000 of those on a bus from Texas, thanks to our governor, Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott has sent the 10,000 in, and that is enough to collapse New York, apparently. But the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands here in Texas, nobody seems to care about. Well, there's some controversy going on because now the government is saying that they might pass a rule that if you come in and cross in Texas, you got to stay in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott is with us now from the great state of Texas. I have to tell you, Governor, busing people from New York City, I loved it from the get-go, but I didn't think it would do much other than like a stunt, kind of like it ended up with Governor DeSantis in Florida with Martha's Vineyard. It felt good for a day, but didn't change anything. This is the biggest game-changing border policy I have ever seen.
Great. What just happened?
Yeah, I could hear it too for a minute, and then it kicked out.
Yep. Whoever didn't want Glenn Beck and Governor Abbott to say anything stopped it up. I think we're still on the air. At least I'm hoping we are. Dave, let's continue this. Since it's you and I, let's continue this.
Have uncovered serious and credible allegations into President Biden's conduct.
I know that Glenn Beck is
taken together,
smart guy, and again, another guy they're trying to censor.
Yeah.
Corruption.
It's just amazing that the level of corruption is just beyond compare.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world could ever think that we would have ended up in this situation. Corruption runs right at the top.
Yeah. I never even thought that we would see this. Ever. Never. Never in my wildest imagination did I think that this would happen. Never.
Yeah. It's worse for me here in Canada because I can't even share news feeds anymore. They're not to share the news feeds. I have to go and put them on Rumble or on Twitter. That's the only way I'm going to be able to get any information out. And the information I get now, I have to dig for.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. It's just like over there, the corruption at the top over here is just unbelievable. And Trudeau himself should have been investigated for at least 10 things, major things. And because the RCMP are in control, and the ones at the top are his buddies, just like a lot of the judges that he's been appointing are all his buddies, and he appoints people that judges or close friends of the family to do investigations on them, and they're all liberals.
Yeah.
Now,
go figure.
Today I saw a thing today from the actual Liberal Party where it says that even the Liberal Party are trying to get things through to Trudeau, and he wants no part of it. He wants to run it his way, that he's not listening to them at all, and it looks like at the next convention they might toss him as leader. And I sure hope so, because he's destroying the country just like Biden is. And the Communist Broadcast Network over here, CBC, what they're doing now is even they're coming out and making comments against the Liberal Party and Trudeau. And I'd love to see that. But unlike over there, we don't have a constitution. And the reality here is that he can do pretty much anything he wants, and he gets absolved from any responsibility.
And that's the same thing with Biden.
Yeah, but if we had a constitution, we would have something to stand on.
Yeah.
We can't even impeach here. And that's unfortunate, because I'm sure by now he would have been impeached.
I had never thought in my wildest imagination that you guys in Canada would be affected like you are. This is insane, Dave.
Oh, it absolutely is. And the only way that we're going to change anything is if the men in our country, or countries, grow a pair and stand up and make a stand. It's that simple. That's the way I see it, because I don't think it's going to change any other way. Even the Conservative Party here. Yeah, what the Conservative leader is saying is wonderful. The problem is that what they say and what they do are two totally different animals. And I know a lot of the people that I speak to and with and to every day, I talk to them about the People's Party, which is a party that I ran for in 2019.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear about them because our leader is a guy who used to be with the Conservative Party, and he has some values that are WEF and the WHO and whatever, and we don't agree with that. However, our party is the only party that allows us to not have to follow the party lines. We can do things with our own conscience. We vote with conscience. And that's something that no other party does. And the things that we have been saying are pretty simple. We want to do the things that we're saying. We want our country back. We're patriots. And we want to make sure that we're not going to diverse from any lines to become something we're not.
No.
Our goals are crystal clear. We want to go straight forward, bring our country back, make our country, Canada and Canadians first. The immigration problem is just ridiculous. The crime rates, the trafficking of people and children, the MS-13, they're coming across that border. Most of the people coming across our border, as well as yours, are fighting age men. Why do they think they're bringing these people in? It's not to make our country better. It's to take over.
Yeah.
It's an invasion. It's no longer anything other than an invasion.
You're right.
And we have to do something to stop this, because we are the only thing standing in the way of the communists.
Yeah. I believe it's the communists who have been sent into our countries to take us over.
Oh, absolutely.
Every one of those fighting age men, anywhere from 18 on up to about 40, that's where those age groups are.
Yeah.
They're going to come into your country and ours. It's been happening for 2 years now, and it's not going to stop.
Yeah. And a lot of these men or young guys are bringing children in, and they're not necessarily their children.
No.
They're just bringing them in to say, oh, you know, this is my family. And where's their wife? What, are they leaving their wives in the country to run the country? They'd probably be better off.
Yeah. Hey, someone is asking who you are. I know I don't have the ability to put Dave Delisle's picture up here on our video tonight, unfortunately, because they screwed it up from the time I got on the air. But this is Dave Delisle from Canada. Dave, kind of introduce yourself to our audience that can't see you.
Yeah. I'm Dave Delisle. I'll be 61 in a couple of months. I've been involved in politics. I ran in the 2019 federal election here in Canada as an MP in my riding. I wanted to make the country better. I'm a patriot through and through. I believe in my country. I believe the most important things are your country, your family. It's that simple to me. Anything else falls by the wayside. And in order for my family to survive in this country safely, like for my children and grandchildren's future is at stake right now. I'm an advocate for the Yellow Vest movement. What we've been called all kinds of names, even my political party, the People's Party. We've been called all kinds of names. We're called racists and everything else. We're not against immigration. We really aren't. What we are against is people not being vetted.
Mm-hmm.
We keep our country safe and our people safe. And in order to do that, you have to vet people coming into the country.
Yeah.
We are fully aware that a lot of these South American countries and a lot of other countries that are willing to do harm to us, sending their people to the southern border and our border to come in here and cause grief.
Yeah.
We want to stop that stuff. I'm an advocate for that. I've been standing up, and I applaud any other person that does stand up. I believe wholeheartedly that we need to save our countries. I believe we need to eliminate the corruption, and it's all right up to the top. There's a way that what we're trying to do, what I mean is we as patriots have been trying to do now, is we've been trying to run for positions in school boards, in our civil elections, our provincial elections, our federal elections. We want to get the patriots back into these positions so that we can take away the things like this story time nonsense with the pedophiles. We want to stop all this stuff. And I'm an advocate for it, and I've been called all kinds of names for it. I'm called a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm a realist. And the reality for me is that I want the country to be a country where the people that come in here are coming in to work with us to make our country better, not to destroy it. And if I'm a racist for saying that, so be it. Don't care. I don't pay attention. I don't listen to other people who tell me these things because it's not worth my time.
No. I don't listen.
That's a little bit about me.
Yeah, I don't listen to any negative crap either. I'm right with you. I support you 100%.
I'm willing to die. I'm willing to die for what I believe in.
Yeah, me too.
It's that simple.
I'm ready to. Whatever I have to do to preserve liberty and preserve justice where I live and where you live, I'll do whatever it takes.
Absolutely. We have to. And we need more men to get the gumption to smarten up and say, hey, look, we want this too, and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
We're going to get together, and we're going to put an end to this stuff once and for all. Get into positions. If you have the ability or the time to get into positions or run in elections for school boards, right up the line, do it. If you believe that you want to save your country, that's a way to do it. And you're going to save children's lives. You're going to save this nonsense with these children being transgender. You have to do this to save these kids.
Yeah. We have to do it.
It's not a negotiation. It has to be done.
Like you say, we can't negotiate anything. This has to be done.
I'm appalled that the Trudeau government seems to be pushing pedophilia, and I really am. And what makes it worse for me is the fact that it seems like the men, especially in this country, aren't willing to stand up.
Yeah.
What happened to the men? Where are they?
I wish I knew.
We have more women, it seems, standing up than we do men.
Yeah.
And I applaud these women that are standing up and opposing this stuff, because we need to do it. But the men need to stand up, because the men are the ones that are strong enough to take the lead and put an end to the nonsense.
Yeah. Unreal.
It really is. It's unfortunate. Like I said, I mean, no matter where you turn, it seems like you're running into a wall of idiots. People that tell you, oh, well, you can't think. Don't question things, because if you question things, you're a racist. Okay, so I'm a racist. Whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. Call me what you will. But the reality is, that's where I sit.
Yeah. Each and every one of us have to stand up. We don't care what you call us. You can call us anything you want. And I told people before, you can call me anything you want as long as it's in time for dinner. Call me for dinner.
Absolutely. Don't let me miss dinner.
Yeah. But I don't care what these bozos try to do to me. I don't give a flying rat's frying Frosty Keister. Yeah. I don't care. I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight to my last breath. And you should too. Each and every one of us should.
Absolutely. And what makes things better for me is the fact that I get involved in the other radio shows and that other guys are doing, whatever. I'm on the Knights of the Round Table, and we look for alternatives. Alternative medicines, alternatives to food storage, so on and so forth, alternative energy. And I mean, we're looking for options. We have answers to a lot and solutions to a lot of the problems. The problem is that nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
People want to trust the government. Well, the government says they're going to take care of us. Will you just run with that and see how far you go?
Yeah.
Because we preach, if there's anybody in this planet you don't want to trust, it's your government.
Yeah. Yeah. If you hear the government say we're here to help you, run.
Yeah. Yeah. Run the other way fast.
Slam your door in their face, and if they try to break through the door, take them out.
Yeah.
Take them out.
And we're willing to listen to anybody. We're even willing to debate the left. The problem is that they don't want to debate. They'll just you, and they'll call you names and walk away.
Yeah.
Well, fine, whatever. You don't want to debate, that's fine. But they don't debate us because they don't have the answers.
No.
And they just believe that they're going to be saved by the government. And you can believe that all you want. But God, country, family, 3 things that are important. And that has to be that way. You have to do things. You have to stand for something, or you live for nothing. We are willing to meet people. We meet people, and again, the young lady that I was telling you about there earlier, from the Graham family, called Graham Farm
Yeah.
This lady is incredible. She's young. She's a young lady. She's got some young children, but she's incredible. She has answers. She has alternative solutions to food again. You know, stuff that you can pick out of your lawn.
Yeah.
That you can eat and use as medicines and so on and so forth. Natural healing powers.
We're going to get her on the air, guys. We are going to get this lady on the air.
She's incredible. Like I said, we had her on our show, I believe it was last Friday, and she is just incredible. She's very knowledgeable. Apparently, she has a legal background as well. I think it's a business legal, but still, she's an incredible woman. And the information that she can bring forth is something that we can all use.
Yeah.
I mean, see, one of the things that we push is with the food, is we'll say, you know, if you have extra seeds and you're walking by a field that nobody's got anything planted, it's overgrown, throw the seeds into the field. Let things grow, apple trees, pear trees, so on and so forth. Because eventually those trees are going to mature, and if somebody is hungry and walking by, they're going to pick an apple or a pear. It's something. It's sustenance.
Yeah. And it's gonna make everything better. It's gonna make each and every one of us better.
Absolutely. We care about people. That's the thing. We want people to be happy and to be able to have a decent life and be happy. We don't want what's coming down the pike with these idiots in our government.
No.
They want us to eat crickets. And I'm sorry, but I will not eat crickets. I will eat a lot of things, but it won't be crickets.
Yeah.
Or any other bugs if I can help it.
For the first time this past week, I don't remember whether it was last Thursday or Friday morning, I went to the store. For the first time in my life, I usually always check the labels. For the first time in my life, I saw a label that said that the food that was inside of this can that I was looking at had bioengineered food in it, meaning it was lab grown.
Yeah.
And the other thing it had was crickets.
Yeah.
They
use the real technical words for it, but yeah, it's cricket, crushed crickets in that. Yeah. London, Ontario, we have the biggest cricket plant in the world, where they're breeding crickets to put them into foods.
Yeah.
People need to watch their labels. But also, I want people to understand that maybe it's just me, but has anybody else noticed a difference in taste in their foods?
Yeah.
Like, for example, sour creams and stuff to that effect. They're changing the chemicals in these foods to make them taste bland or taste differently. And I think we need to really keep an eye on that, because they can poison us real quick if they want. And I wouldn't put it past our governments to do that. Again, you know, part of their plan.
Yeah, it's true.
Get rid of people.
Yeah, it's all part of their plan. And you guys think it's anything else? You're wrong. Angela Pye just gave us a $20 super chat. Thanks. We appreciate that. Apple Pie just gave us $20. God bless you.
Yeah. But these are things that we need to know. I mean, these are things that people need to start thinking about. You know, you have to think about your family. And in order to take care of your family, you have to be more vigilant in the way you look at things. Because we know the government has a plan, and it's not our best interest that's in it.
Yeah, that's so true. It's amazing. It's amazing what they've gotten away with. Joyce Rod is saying we see a black screen. We are having video problems tonight. I hope to have that resolved by tomorrow. Please stay here and finish watching our program. We're probably only going to be here another 20 or 30 minutes. But everything Dave and I are talking about is very, very important. It can cost us our lives if we don't know what's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, look at alternatives for food. Look at alternative medicines and that. I mean, I have Indian heritage, and the reality is some stuff has been passed down to me, but not all of it. Things over the years have been kind of shortened up.
Yeah.
I mean, hunting and fishing and that's pretty much a normal thing for us.
Yeah.
Because we like to eat for some strange reason.
Yeah.
We like to eat meat for whatever reason that is. And they want us to get rid of meat.
Yeah.
Are they nuts? Yeah, we have to cull all the cows because they fart.
Yeah.
Well, are you nuts?
I
Really?
fart. You fart.
Yeah, exactly.
We all fart.
Cull us. Exactly. But, this is the stupidity in their logic. And people buy into it. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, that's nice, but once they get rid of your meat, and understand that since the beginning of time, humans have been eating meat. That's the main source of their protein. When are people going to wake up and say, hey, what they're saying to us is not making any sense. So what we have to do is look for other alternatives. And then you get to people that say, well, you people that research, you're all nuts. You're conspiracy theorists. Well, yeah, okay, but, I might be. But I'm the guy that's going to survive what's coming.
You're right.
Excuse me. Because I'm prepared.
When they said that they were going to do away with cows because they fart, I'm going, what are these Democrats think they're doing? Taking food away from us? They shut down just 2 years ago, right in the prime of the CB event that we all had to go through. They started shutting down the meat processing plants.
And burning them.
And burning them down. Did you guys know we've had 120 factories that have been burned to the ground that have to do with food? If they're not factories producing the food, they're factories that are distributing the food.
Yeah.
They're burned down or destroyed.
And they're trying to keep a lot of that out of the news.
Yeah.
And that's why here the news is censored, because they don't want people to know. And what are they doing to the farms? Well, they're shutting down these farms because they're not giving them fertilizer. Where do people think the food's going to come from? I talk to people about this, honestly. You know what they tell me? Well, if there's no food here, then I'll just go to the store. Well, good luck with that. That's where there's no food at.
Isn't that true? Huh. I don't get it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, they're never going to have a shortage of food. Well, it's coming. Trust me. And if you go into a store and look at the shelves, it's not the way it was 2 years ago or 10 years ago.
No. It's insane. That's what it is. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot less food. What they'll do to make the shelves look full is they'll pull everything from the back to the front so it looks like the shelves are full.
Yeah.
But you only have one or maybe two rows of cans or whatever on the shelves. It's not packed like it used to be.
Right.
And people need to start looking at this stuff and realizing that, hey, the world isn't what we've been told to perceive it was.
Guys, this is the way it is.
That's just me and you. I mean, like I said, I question things all the way through school. Teacher say, well, this is happening for this reason. I said, well, why? Like, prove it to me. How many people have done that?
Yeah.
A lot of kids in your classes and whatever. And of course, I was a bad guy because I questioned everything. But how many people have done that in school? Most kids, what they do is they just take word for word what they're saying as fact.
Yeah.
And it's not fact. It's not always fact. Question things. So they call you names if you question things. No biggie. I can deal with that.
It just blows my mind.
Yeah, it does. It's just... And how so many people can get sucked in. The jobs are a good example. The CV is a good example.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, how many people have looked at the fact that during CV, there was no cold and flu season?
Yeah.
It was gone. Has anybody really realized that? Questioning it. Okay, well, where did cold and flu season go? Generally, during a cold and flu season, X amount of people die from cold and flu. Well, that didn't happen. People are getting sick because they were wearing the mask so long. And you still have people go wearing masks now. And the ones that annoy me the most are the ones driving in their car alone with a mask on.
Exactly. Exactly. I, for the first time in months now, I saw my first person in Walmart with a mask on this past week.
Yep.
And then I heard somebody, it wasn't me that started it, okay? I could have. I wanted to, but it wasn't me that started it. Someone else said, isn't that stupid, wearing a mask when there's nothing going on? And I said,
yeah.
There is no evidence of COVID anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was told by my doctor that just a week prior to that. Yeah. There's no evidence anywhere.
And now this new variant that they're talking about, which I can tell you point blank right now, I'm not taking a shot and I'm not wearing a mask.
No, me either.
Period.
No. Not now, not ever.
Good Lord wants me, he'll take me.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm not going to be killed by these morons. Not me.
Nah.
Not unless I'm standing my ground. It's that simple.
Yeah. I'm going to stand my ground.
Me too. And there's a bunch of us that will. Like I said, we're pushing these things. We're discussing these things on our show, our other shows too.
Yeah.
You know, the reality of the whole thing is that if you want to survive this mess and what's coming, you need to think ahead and you need to think clearly. Don't let them rule you with fear, because fear, all that's going to do is it's going to take your edge off, and you need every bit of the edge for what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's right on the money. You're not speaking to the choir, or excuse me, you are speaking to the choir.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
We can dance.
Yeah, sure. You want to dance, Dave? Let's dance.
Sure. I used to dance when I was younger, but then again, I was a DJ for a while, so yeah.
I was a DJ too at a radio station.
Yeah. I was on university radio for a little while, some friends. So
yeah.
University of Windsor radio station before they took that down. But a lot of that too was guys like us that were questioning things, and I think that's probably why they took it down, because they didn't want that stuff in their school.
Yeah.
And listening to that, oh my goodness, you know, you wake people up. We can't have that. We need the people stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to think. You have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
You have to look for alternatives, because when it all goes south, the hydro goes down, how many people are going to be completely lost without their phones or a computer? How many people know how to do things hands-on? Because that's what you're going to have to do. When you have no phone or power, you need to learn and you need to think. How can I get power? How can I get things back up? How can I feed my family? How can I keep my food cold?
Yeah.
You don't have food that's, either freeze-dried or dehydrated. How are you going to do this if you don't have anything put away? And we're all going to do it at a different level, because it depends on our monetary funds.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. We're not all rich, so we have to do it. We have to have a plan. The only way we can survive, and I mean medical and everything, you have to figure out how you're going to take care of yourself if you get cuts. Or if you need surgery, you have to figure things out.
Yeah. What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? Has anybody even thought this through? How are you going to survive if they turn our power off and don't turn it back on? And if you don't think that's not going to happen, guess what? They're talking about doing it.
Absolutely. Russia's talking about doing it. China's talking about doing it. Even North Korea's talking about doing it.
Yeah.
Hitting us with a nuke. EMP takes care of it. It's down.
Yeah.
We're all at risk. And people have to think about that. Yeah, I know. I mean, we're at risk we got things coming at us from a lot of angles. You know, the Earth has its issues with the quakes and the hurricanes and the volcanoes and all the other nonsense that is done by design. Again, they can create earthquakes, they can create a volcano or make a volcano erupt, they can create the weather that they want in a certain area so they can create droughts and whatever. They control everything.
Yeah.
They control our weapon. They have the weapons, the dew weapons, all kinds of things that makes our life miserable. And just because we think, well, gee, you know, that's just a few things, you got to understand they're probably 50 years ahead of us in technology.
Yeah.
The guys at the top have control over things that are 50 years or more ahead of us. What other things do they have in their little bag that they can use against us?
Yeah.
Your best bet is to think outside the box. The only way you're going to survive is to think outside the box and figure out what you can do in emergency situations, or any situation.
Yeah. Elizabeth here on the chat, Dave, is saying, anyone hear anything about October 4th? October 4th, guys, if you don't already know, there's talk on YouTube, there's talk all over the internet about there being an EBS signal put out by the government. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. They've been talking about this now for, I want to say, 3 months. Oh, tomorrow or next week we're going to have an EBS signal, and the president's going to come on and tell us everything's okay. The military has now thrown Biden out, whatever. Anyway, guys, if you're counting on something happening October 4th, don't stop breathing. Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, they're talking about it happening in Britain. In the UK, they're talking about them having this EBS. Now, I think they're in a little more of a situation, and because they're the ones that seem to be kind of jabbing the Russians a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sticking to them.
And Putin has said he's going to take out England.
Yeah.
The U.S. and England, he said.
Whether we like it or not, we are in World War III.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. There is no coming back from where we're going. It's simple. The best thing for us to do is be prepared, or as prepared as we possibly can for what's coming.
Yep.
And make sure that our families are safe. I mean, defend yourself. Get some kind of way that you can defend yourself, because people that are starving, they're going to come for your food. They're going to come for your defensive weapons. They're going to come for everything. And they don't care who they hurt. They'll hold your kids hostage. You need to be prepared. You need to be aware of these things.
Don't even worry about anything but yourselves. Honestly, guys, that's all you should worry about, you and your family. I'm not holding my breath about an EBS coming on October 4th or any other time. Reasonably, if they're already saying, oh, it's going to happen on October 4th. They've been saying that since July.
Yeah. And Ron, what makes it even worse is anybody that believes that our government is going to tell us that something's happening has got a wild imagination, because that's not going to happen.
Right.
If they tell us that something's going to happen, they're just panicking.
Yeah.
And they don't want panicking. They want everybody just to die peacefully.
Yeah. Nancy Wolfer is saying here that there's a YouTube channel. Yes, I know there's about a dozen YouTube channels that are teaching people how to stock up on goods and services, or not services, goods and food and everything in a plastic bin for 7 days. Oh yes, I've been talking about having an emergency supply kit for a very long time. And I don't care whether you use a plastic bin, a plastic bucket, or a backpack. You need to have an emergency preparedness kit.
Yes, you do. You have to be as prepared as you possibly can be. And I mean, there are so many things that people would need. I mean, if the power goes out and there's no heat, you need to find a way to heat your place or stay warm. You have to find a way. You have to make sure you have clothes and that are readily accessible that you can grab and run. You need to make sure that you have kits with the things that you need to start a fire, so on and so forth. Food. You have to be prepared, and you have to think outside the box. I'm not trying to scare people, honestly, I'm not. I'm trying to make people aware of what's really going on in this world. And if you trust the government, you're already lost.
Yeah, you do. You are. You're already lost. But you need that supply kit, guys. I can't say it enough times. You guys must get tired of me talking about, oh, you need a supply kit. You need an emergency preparedness plan. I'm only trying to help you.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do. Heart Soda says, why no picture? We don't have a picture tonight because as soon as we came on the air, they cut our picture off. I haven't been able to show videos very well. I tried showing part of a Glenn Beck video and it went black on me and stopped.
Yeah.
Okay? But I'm trying. We're still on the air tonight. We're still doing a podcast on the air right now with you. Right now they said we've had over 488 views. That's awesome. Now 490. That's awesome. And we don't even have a picture. That tells us we're doing something. When we have
okay, I'm ugly.
Yeah, I'm ugly too. Maybe that's what my problem is. I'm too ugly to show my face on the air.
I got a wife and 6 kids. I'm ugly.
I'm uglier than you. I've got 4 kids. I've had 3 wives, and nobody cares.
Yeah. I had 2 wives, and the one I have now is good. She's great. But no, we're not trying to scare you people. I mean, I love all of you guys in the EMA family. I really do. And I want you to survive what's coming.
Yeah.
And so, like Ron, I mean, we care. And we need you to be aware and understand that don't trust anything the government's doing. Don't even trust the stuff on the store shelves. Read the labels, because if you don't, you're going to be subjected to stuff that you may not want in your body.
Yeah. And that's the truth, guys. That's a real truth. I've been doing this for a long time, guys. Back in the 80s, my parents, in fact, it was probably early 80s, my parents asked me to speak at a function at their church. They were talking about food preparedness and survival food, how to use your survival food that you have in your home. You might have only a little bit, or maybe you have a lot. Maybe you have a lot that you can share with people. You share and they share. Everybody gets a piece of food that day because we all shared what we have. That's the best thing of both worlds. But my parents taught people how to use their food that they had in their homes. That's how we fed people at these survival dinners that my parents put on. Yep. I spoke at a lot of survival dinners. I spoke about emergency preparedness. I've been doing the same thing for how many years now? It's over 40 years now, guys. Yes, go ahead, Dave.
One of the things, too, that we tell people is this. Find like-minded people in your community. Yeah. And, because all the different stuff that they grow in a garden and whatever, if you put all your stuff together and you're all like-minded people, well, preparedness is important. But you will have a better chance of survival because then you're going to have more people to watch your back.
Yeah.
People you can trust. Not just anybody. You need to be sure you can trust these people. Get the like-minded people together, because you're going to find an awful lot of people aren't like-minded. They trust the government, so that tells you everything. And that's how a better way for you to survive, because you don't have to watch your back all the time. You have them watching your back as well. And when they're busy doing something, you're watching their back.
It's a two-way street.
It's pretty simple.
Get as many people that are equally minded with you. Things that they know about, you might not know. Maybe you know something that they don't. You get like-minded people with you, and you've got a greater chance of surviving this whole endeavor.
Yeah. Well, somebody might not know how to build a house or a cabin or something to survive. And guess what? One of the other people does. So you have that. And then you offer what you can do. Because everybody has different skills. It's real simple. It's something that not everybody thinks about, but we do.
Yeah.
Why do we think that way? Because we question everything. We want to know the answers to everything. Yeah, some people call us crazy, but oh well. If I'm crazy, I want to know where the line is.
Hey.
Because I've seen some pretty whacked people.
My crazy train's pulling out of the station. Anybody want to get on board?
Yeah, exactly. But understand that light at the end of the tunnel, well, that's the light of the oncoming freight train.
Yeah.
You have two choices: stay on the track or get off the track. Me, I prefer to get off the tracks. But hey, there are people out there that'll stay there till the end.
Yeah. Yeah. We have
and that's
to... Go ahead.
Thinking outside the box, Ron.
Yeah, exactly. Texas lady says in the chat, I'm on board. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's because he's like-minded.
Yeah. I went into a store, when was it? Monday, I think it was. I went into a store Monday. And somebody asked how I was doing. I said, I'm crazy. How about you? And the lady laughed. She says, well, most of us are. I said, no, my crazy train is pulling out of the station. Do you want to get aboard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll join you.
Exactly.
Oh,
but in this day and age, I mean, you have to be a little bit crazy. You have to think outside the box. And if that's great, makes you crazy, so be it. I'm good with it. I can live with it.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to survive. I mean, granted, again, like I told you earlier, I believe I only have a couple of years left in my life due to my health, but that's between me and God. Yeah, we'll deal with it. But in the meantime, I'm going to do whatever I can to save more lives and souls. It's simple.
Yeah. I'm going to do whatever I can, just like you, Dave, to save lives. Whether I have to run for president or governor, I'll do it. If I have to get on the city council, I'll do it. I've already told people here that said that they thought I'd run for council. I said, who do I know already on the council? I don't know anybody on the council. That's because I've had health issues and I haven't had time to worry about the city council. But yes, if that's what it takes to get things done here, oh yeah.
Yep.
Because I'll be preaching preparedness. I'll be preaching how to get together as people here. Oh yeah. I'll be teaching everybody.
I know the mayor here, and I know some of the people on council, and I know some of the people who work for the town. And I'm good with that. But when I was in Windsor, a friend of mine was on city council. A friend of mine was on town council in Leamington. And again, I mean, I've been involved with politics pretty much all my life, one way or another. But I want to make things better for everybody. And I'm the oddball out, because if you're a politician, you can't want that. So I could never be the prime minister in Canada, because the stuff I say makes sense. We can't have that in a politician.
No. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. And I am probably the worst person to get talking, because I won't shut up. I won't shut up.
I hear you.
My dad and mother used to teach me, or tease me, not teach me. Well, they tried to teach me some things, and I shut it down, I guess. But my parents used to tease me about the worst thing you ever did was get me to talk, because now they can't get me to shut up. And that's true.
But that's not a bad quality.
No.
Except in this environment.
Yeah. True.
Because then you are crazy on the crazy train, and you're the engineer.
That's it. All aboard. Oh, I think I'm funny.
Well, it's true though. People look at you like you're whacked out and say, "Don't you get it? Oh no, I got to trust this. They're going to do this for me." Well, if you believe that, go away, I got somebody else to talk to.
Yeah. Is that true? Jeez.
Yeah. Because the reality is that nobody is going, no matter how much you tell somebody to research things and that, they're going to say, well, that's all propaganda. Well, it's not. You have to vet some of the stuff you look at, but the truth is, you find the answers. Because if you expect the government to give you the answers to a question you have, well, you'll be waiting forever.
Yeah.
All you'll get is blown off.
If you get that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I was running for the MP here, I was telling people the way it was.
Yeah.
And I told them at that point, even in front of the cameras, the television cameras, I told them, hey, listen, these guys will give you propaganda. These guys will give you propaganda. It's false news.
Yeah.
Fake news, what they're telling you. They don't want to know the truth. And people are looking at me like, what? We watch TV all the time. They're not. But you're not listening to what they're not saying.
Yeah.
You're listening to what they're saying and taking it as gospel. Don't do that.
Yeah. True. True.
The truth is always a little bit more skewed.
Yeah. It really is. Hey guys, I want to share something with you. We're getting towards the end of the program here. One of our own EMA family members wrote this to me a couple years ago, Tim Bellwood. You guys know who Tim is, most of you. He wrote this poem for me, and I'm going to share it with you now. I think I've shared it when he first gave it to me, and I put it in my files until today, and I was digging through things to throw things away, and I came upon this, and I said, I'm not going to throw this away. This is too good. This is very, very good. And it's called His Touch. It's called His Touch. How could I describe the touch of a man who could turn any problem into I can? With a simple thought, a wink and a smile, the will to walk that extra mile. How could I describe the touch of a man who could turn any vision into a workable plan? With confidence and can-do, a will to succeed, blessed with ability, never guided by greed. How could I describe the touch of a man who could raise 3 daughters with a simple plan, that they would always and ever be the girl in whom his principles he'd see, and evermore be the girls in whom his principles he'd see? How could I describe the touch of a man who lived his life with a basic plan, to live by the rules sent from God above and sprinkle them with incredible love? How could I describe the touch of this man who believed in me? Now this is my plan, to live my life following the rules just like he, hoping someday he sees himself in me. How could I describe the touch of this man? Folks, I can say that's my dad. I can say I want to be like him. You might ask yourself, could that man be Jesus Christ? Someone that's helped raise each of us, helped raise Dave, helped raise me.
Yeah.
The touch of Jesus Christ in our lives, brothers and sisters here, the touch of Jesus Christ in our lives has saved many of us. Has saved many of us, and it will save many more. All I am asking all of you is to think about the touch of a man. I want to thank my very dear friend Dave from being way up in Canada tonight. This would have been rather a very boring podcast with only Ron hanging out here. But
No, it wouldn't.
but gosh golly gee, I've got my friend Dave here. And I'm going to have a lot more people here on this air in the coming days and weeks. We're going to have a good time with this. We almost had Barry here if Barry hadn't been out plucking mushrooms. That's how Barry exists, by selling mushrooms that he finds out in the outback. And I appreciate him too. If you have not listened to Barry on the air, tomorrow I will put his program description on the air for this next week. I'll find that and I'll put it up here so you can see it. I love Barry Prince. He's awesome. I love Dave Delisle. I love all of you. You guys are what makes us come here every night, and I appreciate that. I hope we've at least given you some kind of knowledge of what's going on in your neck of the woods, because it's going to affect all of us.
Absolutely.
Whether we're there in Canada, whether we're here in the United States, or wherever we're at in England. It's going to happen to all of us. I want to thank our fabulous mod squad. You guys help keep this whole family together and help us keep us on the same track. Help keep us on the same railroad track. And I really appreciate that. You help me stay on the right track. We help each other.
Yeah, we do.
Dave,
That's
thank
what
you so much for
family
being
is.
here.
Absolutely no problem. Thanks for having me. Like I said, anytime, I'm good. I'm good to go.
We'll do it. We'll do it more often.
Yeah, the information has to get out. We have to let people know. I mean, you can sit there and think everything's going to be wonderful, but we know better.
Yeah.
Just be prepared, because what's coming is far worse than anything you can imagine.
Yeah. True.
And it's not to scare people, it's to wake people up to the reality of this stuff, because it's going to happen. We already see things a little bit creeping in, and we can see further down the road because, well, I guess we were trained to feel this way, or born to be this way, to question things, and we look for answers.
Yeah. It's true. God bless all of you guys. Thank you, mods. Thank the people that donated to our program tonight. God bless you all. We appreciate that. That helps keep this program on the air, and it helps keep me sane. Believe me. Thank you all, guys. We are going to get together another day tomorrow. Michael McKinney says there's a train going by. There is.
Yeah, we're on it.
We're on it. The train is pulled out from the station. Anybody want to get on this train, they better run and catch up. We're pulling out. Have a good night, guys. We love you very much. Thanks again, Dave. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ron.
Take care.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye,
Take care,
everybody.